Dude, this defense is killing the Leafs. Hey, the Leafs made the playoffs with Corey Cross, so don't give me that crap. And then, yeah, Leafs, dude, what a great goal. Dude, crazy throwing waffles. Who are you? Optimus Prime. Leafs lose 5-3 to the Florida Panthers. And I'm drinking a Kicking Horse coffee, which I believe is from BC, which reminds me, had an epiphany about the Vancouver Canucks this morning. Because I think Western Canada, especially way out west in BC, you feel ignored sometimes because, well, frankly, we're asleep when you're not. You're far out there and it's like a 3-hour time difference. However, I do not sleep. So more often than not, if there is an Oilers, Flames, or Canucks game on, I'm either watching it or at least following along on Twitter. And because I started working at CBC this year, there's this room with like a big, giant master TV with like 20 channels on it at the same time. I get to watch a lot of hockey. Canucks fans, I had an epiphany, and I think you're actually gonna like it. I figured out why people hate you. Well, it's because we're good and your team sucks? Well, you're on to something, but it's a little misguided. It's not because the Canucks are good and other teams suck. It's that the Canucks are good, other teams suck, and you don't appreciate your good to suckiness ratio on your own team. Because last night, during the entire Canucks game, Twitter was just flooded with "I hate Mason Raymond" tweets. Because he's the reason they didn't win the Stanley Cup, don't you know? But see, the Canucks are so good. They have such a wicked, wicked team that when things go south, they blame it on Raymond. And then watching the Leafs get scored on after 13 seconds, I just want you to shut the hell up. Because, and I'm totally paraphrasing a Louis C.K. bit for this, but the Canucks are like North America. Many of us have it so much better than others around the world or NHL, and we don't properly appreciate what we have. And if Canucks fans hate Mason Raymond so much, then you should have said something before the deadline, because the Leafs totally would have took him. I don't know if that's true, but can he score? Can he play a hint of defense? We'll take it. We'll take two. So Leafs get scored on 13 seconds into this one, and I have to admit, I didn't see this live. I got up and went to the kitchen to get something, because in my defense, who the hell gets scored on that quickly? Luke Schenn. Horrific giveaway, and you can blame Reimer because it would have been nice if he had made that save, but Luke Schenn still with the huge initial mistake. Now, regarding Luke Schenn, I read something last night that kind of made me go, all right, A, I see the problem, B, I see that it's fixable. And I want to read you the opening bit. I'll put the link in the underbar so that you can read the whole thing. Please read the whole thing. I hope he doesn't mind that I'm reading the opening bit. Luke Schenn walked out in a white shirt and a blue tie and black overcoat, and he looked directly into the cameras and said, "I got no excuse for it. It's just bad play. The slow start? It's obviously my fault," he said. 100%. I'll take blame for that. His nose might be perpetually crooked, just around the bridge, but Schenn told it straight. The directness was jarring, if only because that's not standard operative practice around here these days. No kidding. It doesn't matter that Brian Burke didn't make a big move at the NHL trade deadline, because almost nobody made a big move at the NHL trade deadline. If you want to criticize the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs, then the NHL's Cold War deadline is not the place to start. Or to finish either. Very seldom do I read things that I agree with so wholeheartedly. That's Schenn just going, look, I know I was brutal. And this goes to what I said last video about Ron Wilson maybe not being that good of a motivator. Because when was the last time a young player on this current Leafs team, on this rebuilding Leaf team, went into a slump and brought himself out of it? Because Fratton had an extremely slow start to his season offensively, even though he was still playing good hockey. And once he kind of started getting on a roll, he got sent down. Kadri is a real sore spot with Leafs fans because we see the potential in this guy. Schenn's hot and cold apparently goes on a season-by-season basis. Amazing as a rookie, sophomore slump, great last year, and this year, wow. I still like Kuhlman's game defensively, but he hasn't been able to do a thing offensively this season. Everyone just looks mentally done. And the Leafs aren't in the same situation as, I hate to say it, in Ottawa, where they got Milan Michalek, Daniel Alfredson, Jason Spezza, showing some of the much younger guys what's up. And they certainly don't have Paul McLean and his epic mustache and potential Jack Adams. What they do have is John Michael Isles, who on the second goal didn't take the passer, didn't take the shooter, just kind of went, nah, and hope for the best. Well, the defense don't trust that the goalie's going to stop it, no matter who's in net, and the goalie doesn't trust that the defense is going to make the proper decision. It's just a chicken and egg situation that results in a big scrambly pile of Crap. So the trade deadline's passed. You're totally boned if you want to change personnel. So what do you do? I saw some of you take what I said out of context last video about Dallas Eakins. I think he'll be an excellent NHL coach down the road, maybe as early as next season, but firing Ron Wilson and bringing Eakins up to the NHL at this point of the season is crazy. Marlies have a pretty damn good team this year, and they're poised for some sort of a playoff run. I'm not sure how deep. And because of the Leafs and Marlies' struggles over the past few seasons, a lot of these players on the Marlies have not seen playoff hockey in their professional career. And the whole point of the Marlies is to develop young players. So why would you take their coach away from them mid-season? Not even mid-season, right before the playoffs. If the Leafs are going to fire Wilson, and I find that very hard to believe, I guess Scott Gordon. You'd think that's the logical replacement, right? And part of the conspiracy theorist in me, you gotta think that maybe part of what lured Gordon to the Leafs was that maybe down the road. I mean, the Islanders team from a few years ago, Gordon has coached far worse teams than this. I won't go on too much longer with this video because I think it's just getting depressing at this point, but I want to address one thing I've been seeing people say. And that is, well, the Leafs were expected to be a bubble playoff team this season, and that's what they are, so if they don't make it, well, I don't understand why people are getting all crazy. Well, that's not really true, though, because they've been in a playoff spot for much more of the season than they haven't been. The Leafs have like one win in their last 10 games. This isn't them just being a young bubble playoff team. This is them completely choking. And part of what I've loved about Brian Burke in his tenure as Leafs GM is just how stoic he is and his ability to not make panic moves, but how do you not do it now? What can you do now? It's past the deadline. Other than fire the coach. But again, it's past the deadline. So I don't know if I've really brought the funny. I think I've made a few good points. But if you want to laugh, I'm posting something on my website along with this video. Remember Shit Leafs Fans Say? Just said shit. Shit Leafs Fans Say Part 2 is now out, so check that out. And also my wonderful and talented friend Mark Roslick, I guess, was getting into kind of a little bit of nostalgia the other day. And he took some highlights from all the Dangle Zangle videos we did during the Winter Olympics in Vancouver. And I don't know, made me feel all warm and fuzzy. So hopefully that'll help you out. Or at least watch it because I'm proud of it. And also, the Leafs trading Keith Ollie for Carter Ashton at the trade deadline. I actually, by chance, happened to interview Carter Ashton in 2009 before he was drafted, so check that out. NoSteveDangle.com poll, just check out those things. So follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook, click the like button on this video several times if need be, share it, and, well, let's see if the Leafs beat the Blackhawks on the road in back-to-back nights. Oh, God.